Hi, Ethical Energy Community. This is Kim, and we are here to talk about the season Oats and Toast. Now, SEMA, in Oats and Toast, we are going to be talking about the scripture, but we're looking at three dynamic ways to apply personal immersion into the scriptures. So, number one, mantras. Mantras are very applicable, and scriptures are dynamic for that. So, you could use a mantra outside of scriptures or with, but it is very potent with scriptures. Number two, transcendental meditation. Big deal. Transcendental meditation is the internal voice replaying the positive, the uplifting, or the impactful message with the internal voice. Lastly is loving kindness meditation. Loving kindness meditation is so powerful because it is a mechanism where we both think goodness, kindness, compassion for ourselves and radiate it for each other. So it's not self-centered. It does require us to think of our own preservation and thriving. However, it also expects us to be responsible and think of other people. Now, obviously there's boundaries and there's limits, but we don't just get all the good and don't radiate it around us. So those are the three types of meditations: mantra, transcendental, and loving kindness. Now, these are not by any means the only meditations, but these are the three we'll talk about today. Why is there a benefit to this, and why should we add this in addition to studying scripture? Well, we should add mantra, transcendental meditation, and loving kindness meditation if we are not already doing so, because we don't want to fall into monotony. Boredom, monotony is very deadly to the long-term pilgrimage of scripture study. We have to mix it up. We have to keep it fresh, and we have to recognize the dynamics that the word can adapt in. Mantra. Mantra is a message that is audible. So we speak it like we're speaking to another person, but it is meant to be the overwhelming message that dominates what we hear and obviously in our mind. A mantra message is very powerful because there are a lot of audible voices that are not positive. That's just the truth. And we need to make sure that we drown out, displace, diminish, or silence as many of the negative messages that are all around us. Now, next, transcendental meditation. Not only are there audible negative messages, what about the silent or inaudible messages? The silent messages when we're comparing ourselves, or when something implies that we don't meet a certain standard, or that we can cut corners and cut using honorable and reputable mechanisms to get what we want. Well, with transcendental, we are going to speak, or when we are in the ethical energy arena, we are speaking messages in our internal voice and repeating them until we transcend negative voices, and actually we transcend the thinking. Now, why would we want to transcend thinking? Isn't that what we are? No. There are times the mind needs to rest. Even when we are conscious, or normal conscious level, we don't want to be depleted by overthinking. Now, this is one of the most deep forms of meditation, in my opinion, because number one, it acknowledges there's an internal voice. Number two, it acknowledges or deals with the fact there's multiple competing non-audible voices that are playing in our heads. It empowers our internal voice to control the narrative in our mind. When something is going wrong or looks like it's going to go left, or a message is encroaching, invading, being destructive, but we can't necessarily audibly cancel it, audibly pray out loud. The internal transcendental practice is very powerful and completely applicable with scripture. So if we are not advanced in hearing our own internal voice, this is also a great time of the year to make sure we throw that into our routine of spiritual development and spiritual maturation. So I am very, very interested in the transcendental meditation as a result. Lastly, loving kindness. This is so pivotal and honestly almost automatic, hand in hand with what the scriptures are supposed to represent. Of course, we don't see people practicing as they should. So, what do? We repeat the messages and make sure that it's fundamentally understood that we are repeating the messages not only to receive good, kindness, prosperity, upliftment, health for ourselves, but when we receive it, we radiate that out into the earth, out into the community. We aren't just vessels for ourselves, we are vessels out of our abundance to disperse a portion to others. So that is a very important mindset. And though it's discussed in many ways, it is either manipulated or misused, not stewarded right, or actually it's just a tactic to deplete others. Loving kindness meditation cannot be used to deplete. It's not meant to deplete the person who is receiving, because you're going to receive, but it is not intended to deplete others who are going to get a portion from somebody else. No. We are all supposed to be increasing in capabilities, skills, and resources to be able to supply ourselves and then radiate it. If that's not the case, it's incredibly healing and it's motivating to align with words that say, I am safe, I am cared for, my needs are covered, and I help to meet the needs of others within my ability. So to not go overboard, say within our ability, that's going to require some wisdom, awareness, and also stock taking. But these are 3 forms of meditations that we should be practicing as we mature along the 12 and 13 seasons of the year. And I hope that's a friendly reminder that you have a lot more options in developing and maturing in scripture besides traditional study. And with that, SEMA Ethical Community, it was great being in your presence again. Take care.